Public transport is one of the key issues of this election campaign, in particular safety on the train system. Stateline this week ventured onto the train network at night with Frankston man Paul Taylor, who has a compelling story to tell. In a moment, the transport debate between Minister Martin Pakula and opposition spokesman Terry Mulder. But first, Kerry Ritchie has this report and a warning some of the language heard may be offensive.
It's 5 p.m. on Tuesday. Paul Taylor is at Cannonook Station near Frankston to catch a train to Flinders Street. The sign writer needs to get to his weekly Chinese language class.
It's pretty convenient for me. It's cheaper than driving in and getting parking. It's pretty quick. I can do a bit of study on the way.
But Paul Taylor never brings his laptop. The Frankston father of two is worried about being robbed. He wasn't a nervous traveller until he was attacked by thugs while returning from a football game with his young son.
It was just a train load of footy fans and had a pretty good night. Saints won and everyone was having a bit of a laugh about it.
The laughter died at McKinnon Station. There was a punch-up on the platform. Paul Taylor and about 15 others in his carriage watched through the window. Suddenly, the mob turned on them.
Not random. Just ran on the train, and these are the large rocks on the side of the road. Quite big, like the size of a cricket ball.
Paul Taylor screamed down the intercom that they were under attack. The driver didn't say a word. His son sheltered behind a seat.
He just squat down. He said, I'll be okay, I'll be okay. He was worried that I'd leave. He asked me not to go outside.
The thugs eventually ran off and the train moved on. Paul Taylor says everyone on the carriage phoned 000, but when they reached Frankston, no police were waiting to take statements. The train driver hadn't even called an ambulance. Instead, crying and bloodied passengers shuffled out of the station into the night. Paul Taylor called police when he got home. They took his name and number. No one ever called back. 6 months on, he still thinks about that night. We rejoined Paul Taylor after his language class at McKinnon Station, the scene of the crime. It's now just after 9. At the next station, 2 young men with beers and a dog get on. The mood in the carriage changes immediately. We attempt to continue our interview. Is this a normal amount of people on? And there's a bit of tension on here already. Get your
public transport away, nigga, fuck up.
Yeah, this is better. Yeah, this is
makes sense, but doesn't it? Isn't that what
usual
you're
crew.
trying to make sense of?
We aren't even attempting to film the men, but they hurl abuse at us anyway.
Get the fuck away from us with your fucking thing, yeah?
We don't want to inflame the situation, so we get off at the next station, Mentone, to wait for another train.
You know, I think it's the perceived threat of those guys. They might be harmless and sit there and drink their beer, but they're different from everyone else that was on that train. They're not doing crosswords. They're not talking on the phone to their friends. They're drinking beer, and they got a dog that was it, I don't know, a vicious, probably a dangerous dog. And who would confront them? You know, we got off the train. You know.
As we wait, a group on the other side of the tracks notices our camera and starts abusing us.
Fuck you! You're a faggot! Fuck you!
It's 9:30, they're drunk on a Tuesday night and have little regard for their safety. There are staff inside the station, but no one ventures out. Classical music designed to deter troublemakers plays on. Paul Taylor tells us that not once this year has he seen a ticket inspector, a Metro staff